So my experience with 1923 was so different than my Landman audition process, but I put something on tape. I got a call back, and then that led to going to Jackson Hole, Wyoming to do a test with Taylor and John Papsadera, wonderful casting director. And a day after that, I booked the job. So it all happened so fast, like from when I first auditioned to when I was all of a sudden on set. And so I hadn't really processed it entirely. And I'd say the best part about doing season 2 was the fact that like we did season 1, it came out while we were filming, and then I had a year off to just fully digest.
You know, I admire you and the opportunities you've had. I regret not sending Jack back east for school. I feel sometimes that we've robbed him of countless experiences, all of which you've had. But what you haven't had, however, is an education about this way of life. You'll miss more than weddings for cattle, my dear. If you give birth during calving season, it'll be a month before he sees his first child. If you give birth in the fall, it'll be even longer. You will stand knee-deep in mud to help a sick foal. You will drive wagons through blizzards with hay for cattle and hear them screaming their gratitude when you approach. And you will be free in a way that most people can barely conceive.
And I learned so much from her every day on set. I mean, she has so much confidence in her abilities, but I also think she cares so much, and she has so much passion. She gives 150% on set every single day. I mean, imposter syndrome doesn't leave you, I've learned. And so I think just really believing that, you deserve to be there, that was definitely a challenge that I worked through. And I guess just like learning to be present, because it can be very overwhelming, and there's a lot of people on set and there's a lot of pressure. And so just learning to like also enjoy the process, because like I'm in this industry because I love it, and I love film and I love television. And so it's just like reminding myself that that's the real reason I'm doing this. Wow, I did not know how much work it was to learn how to ride a horse. And we hadn't gotten all the scripts yet when we all flew out to do cowboy camp. So I didn't know if eventually my character, now we know that I never got on a horse, but I thought for a second that maybe there would be scenes of me riding. So the whole cowboy camp, I was just trying to like really look like I've been doing this my whole life. And we did it for 2 weeks. The first week we all were just like bruised. We were taking ice baths, like downing Advil. It was just like a painful time. And then the second week, because we were doing it for so many hours a day, we kind of all fell into it. And we worked with some of the best wranglers in the business. I think when you play a young woman who's finding themselves and figuring out where they are in their life, and I want to see the characters I play be strong. And I think in season 1, Elizabeth was still kind of coming into her own, and she was joining a new family and moving from the East Coast. And so in season 2, my hope, and I'm not going to give anything away, is that she just finds her strength and like who she is.
Do you know this dance?
I don't even know this song.
I want to try it. I want to try it, Jack.
I think she wants to try.
So I one day saw Taylor Sheridan pop up on my phone, and I assumed that it was like about 1923 because we were in the middle of releasing that. And he said, "Michelle, I have this role. There's this show called Landman, and this character called Ainsley." And I actually had heard little things about the show and just assumed, because we were supposed to do a season 2 of 23, that there was no way I could audition for it. And he's like, "I need you to put it on tape. It's very different than Elizabeth. And I thought of you. And I had 12 hours to put 18 pages on tape, and it felt like, and I always say this, but like it really felt like my character to lose because Taylor had worked with me before and he knew what I could do, and so I gave it everything. I did not do the accent in the audition because I had not learned how to do a Southern accent yet, and I booked it the next day. And then I had so much time before we started filming because the strike happened, and so I thought about Landman and Ainsley for a year straight. And so just to like have it be coming out right now and having filmed it, it's very surreal.
Hi.
You're getting prettier every day, little angel. You didn't drink them out of those little Tito's bottles, did you?
Daddy, of course not. Your engineers did that.
Well, they had to practice.
I want you to meet my boyfriend.
Your mother didn't say anything about the boyfriend coming.
Because you know, Mommy, the less she knows, the better. She's such a helicopter parent.
I don't know what that means.
Just hovering and hovering and hovering always. Daddy, meet Dakota.
Mr. Norris? It's a pleasure, sir.
Yeah, good to meet you. Dakota, what's your last name?
Loving, sir.
Dakota Loving. Can't make that shit up.
I mean, this character is very different than me, but I think everyone has different sides of themselves. And so I definitely pulled out sides of myself that is Ainsley. And I mean, I was very different when I was 17 than she is, but I love how confident she is. I love how she's unapologetically herself. And I worked really closely with a dialect coach, a movement coach, an acting coach to just like really embody this like 17-year-old free, vivacious character. And I think little pieces of her stuck with me. So there's definitely some Michelle in there. And now I have some Ainsley in me. And I'm happy about it. I'm just like in awe of him, and he in Landman gives a lot of monologues and I could listen to them on repeat. I'd like to like fall asleep to that sound. It's interesting. He's so himself, but he's also so the character, and he's so different than Tommy, but it also sounds just like Billy Bob. And Taylor wrote Landman thinking of Billy. So like the fact that he was able to really find Billy's voice in Tommy is so cool. And I mean, he slows down scenes. He grounds you just like as a human. He made me feel so confident. And I think having that energy, especially going into the scenes that I had to do, was really important. So I really credit to him to having such a great experience on Landman. I hope it's around for a long time. I mean, there's so many places I'd love to see Ainsley go. Playing a character that's 17 and still like growing into herself, it's like, I mean, she could go in 15 different directions, and I just want to see her grow up and like find who she is and where her boundaries lie. And there's so much more to her than I think is seen on the show. And so I'm so excited for the rest of the seasons. I had really never spent any time in Texas. I'd flown through the airport, but that doesn't count. And so going out for Landman, I was really excited because it's like a new city to explore. And I mean, I just fell in love with Fort Worth. I think we all did because we were there for 5-6 months, and we as a cast and crew just hung out every single weekend or whenever we weren't working. And so we explored a lot. I rode when I could, spent a lot of time at the stockyards, which is basically, I like to call it like a mini Cowboy Vegas. I brought back my Letty cowboy boots. Ainsley wears this like incredible pair of cowboy boots from this iconic store in the stockyards called Letty's. And when I was wrapping, I was like, okay, I wore cowboy boots for like 5 months straight. I have to have a pair of my own to like at least remind me of Texas when I'm back in LA. And so I have these like beautiful Letty's cowboy boots. And I'm going to try to steal Ainsley's eventually. Taylor's given me a lot of advice over the years. And I'd say as an actor, the best advice he's given me is to just be yourself. Like, I hired you for the job because you are this character. And like, even though it's obviously a character and I am not Elizabeth or I am not Ainsley, it's like once you have the script and you're in your wardrobe and you have the accent and you know the story, then you have become the character. And so having him just say, just be you gives you so much confidence. And I'd say that's like the best advice he's given me.